Hello, and welcome to Informatica's Global Customer Support Knowledge Base web session. My name is George, and we're going to be talking about the discovery process as it pertains to Informatica's Test Data Management Data Subset for SAP product, version 6.1D. Some of the topics we're going to be discussing today is what is the discovery process? What is a schema? How do we create a schema? How do we assign the created schema as the default? How do we update a schema? And then finally, how often does the discovery process need to be executed? Okay, so what is the discovery process? The discovery process is a term that pertains to the execution of a program that is delivered with the product that creates a customer schema. A customer schema is a group of tables that is also delivered with the product that becomes populated when the discovery process is executed. When the discovery process is running, it checks or it queries the SAP instances data dictionary, and it populates the tables that make up the schema with the tables and all the information from the data dictionary. This allows the product to know what has been installed on that SAP instance, any kind of custom tables, what components have been installed by SAP through either in OSS notes, support packs, enhancements packages, etc., as well as any kind of extension to standard SAP tables that your developers may have developed. Okay, so let's go through an example of how we create the schema and how we assign the default schema as a default, and how do we update that schema, and then we'll talk a little bit about how often the discovery process needs to be executed. Okay, the first thing we need to do when we first install the product is to create a customer schema. And so let's go ahead and access the product through its area menu, and we do this by typing in transaction get st/main, and this is the product's area menu. It's not really a transaction, it's an area menu, so you should you can only access it through SAP's area menu. Let's go ahead and go there. Okay, and here we are. We're at the data subset for SAP's area menu. So one of the very first things that you do, according to the installation guide, is to create yourself a customer schema. And so we go into setup, expand that, we see a folder called discovery, and we expand that, and then we see transaction generate and maintain schema. So let's go ahead and double click on that, and that brings us to a screen where we define schemas. So let's take a look and see what schemas already exist, and we do that by clicking on the drop down, and here we see three different schemas. We have a Informatica Data Archive for SAP schema that is delivered with the product, and that is for our data archive product. So for this product data subset, it can just be ignored. The Informatica Factory schema is also delivered with the product, and you can see that it is a factory schema by the column where the X is placed. Then we have a customer schema, and that is the default schema. And then we have another schema called demo. Now, typically most customers will only need one customer schema, so you would normally see these two that are delivered, the archive for SAP schema, the Informatica Factory schema, and then there would be nothing else at the time the product was installed. So now you're going to create your customer schema, and you're going to assign it as the default. So let's go ahead and create another schema, and let's call it demo 2. And we're going to go ahead and then we'll click on the create icon, And now we see some different options. And the factory schema is blanked out because you're not allowed to create another factory schema. And then we have the default customer schema. Now normally, since it's be the first time we run this and we're creating our customer schema, we want to make that the default schema. So we would check the checkbox. But in this case, we're not going to check the checkbox because we already have a default customer schema that's been created. The next checkbox is automatic schema update. And this, if it is checked, it will automatically run the discovery process after so many days that is specified by putting in the number of days here in the next run days. So if that was if the automatic schema update was checked and we had 10 days in the next run field, every 10 days the discovery process would execute automatically. We recommend generally that you don't do this because this basically gives the basis person more control over when the discovery process is run rather than having it run automatically. That leads us into why or how often we should run the discovery process after the schema has been created. And generally you would do that after you've installed support packs, enhancement packs, or you've had a number of custom tables that have been created by your developers. So we would run this again basically the same way as you would run the beginning, create it by selecting that default schema, and then that's running in update mode, and it would just update the schema and add the new tables that now exist or delete any tables that have been deleted. This also allows for the product to be updated without us changing any kind of custom work that you have done. I want to emphasize that when the discovery process is run and that schema is created, that it does not alter any of your SAP instances dictionary items, and no tables in SAP are altered in any way. It just simply populates factory, our delivered tables, the product delivered tables, with information that the product needs to run a project successfully. The next checkbox is update record count. Now the update record count basically tells the schema, it provides information about how large each of the tables that are installed on the SAP instance, how many records there are or rows there are in each table. And that information is used for a thread management strategy, which is a topic for another video, knowledge-based video session. So I'm not going to go into that here, but we'll have another one that talks about that further in the future. The one thing to remember is if you do update the record count, it does take more time for the discovery process to run. I'm just going to go ahead and uncheck that for now, and then the next thing we want to do is save the schema. And now we need to generate that schema. We do that by going into clicking on the pencil, and then we'll put discovery generation in the background mode. So we'll go ahead and click on that, and it says schema data will be generated. Do you wish to continue? And yes, we do. So we click on yes, and now a background session has been running. A background job has been running to generate that schema. So if we were to take a look at the schema statistics in this screen, we can see that these tables, these are tables with our namespace getPF, that will be populated as this discovery process runs. And the discovery process generally takes a few hours to run to completion. You'll also see a status right here that says it's in process and it is running. So the schema is going to be created. When that has completed, then this in process, you'll get a little green light, and if you were to click again on the schema statistics, you would see each of these tables populated. There is another icon here which allows you to deactivate that schema. If you deactivate that schema and it's marked as the default schema, you will have to assign another schema, either create another schema or assign another existing schema to be the default schema. Well, that brings us to the end of this video session. I hope it's been helpful and answered some questions you may have had about the discovery process. We'd love to hear from you. You can contact us at supportvideos@informatica.com, or you can also contact us through our Twitter account. Thank you and have a nice day.